FG fam, today we are going to go over MLB the Show's offseason. I'm seeing a lot of issues with my friends, with some of you guys, with a lot of content creators that just don't seem to know how to run an MLB offseason. So we're going to take a young team in the Baltimore Orioles. There's a reason I'm going to do that, and I will see you guys when the offseason starts. All right, the Orioles did not make the playoffs at 78 and 84, but that doesn't really matter here. The Bay Sox won the Eastern League Championship. That's pretty cool. And the Dodgers defeated the Rangers in the World Series. As we head into the offseason, Miguel Cabrera makes the Hall of Fame. But this is really where it all starts, okay? Obviously, you need to go out and sign yourself managers and coaches and whatnot. I personally like to overpay to make sure I get the ones I want, like Derek Olson over here. We're going to make sure we overpay him at about $6.5 million a year. That makes him pretty happy. Hopefully he signs. It also helps to hinder your budget and give you a little bit more of a challenge in your franchise. Now, these are the exclusive free agents, and you may or may not want to bring guys like this back, but the only way to do so is to sign them here, or they're going to go to free agency. And sometimes you can offer a guy, and he may still go to free agency. Adam Frazier is a guy. I think we'll offer him the 1-year deal to try to bring him back. And then Kyle Gibson, we can let him go. He doesn't pitch particularly well. I'm not going to do anything about it. Now, this is the thing. In this stage, you have to tender a qualifying offer in order to receive draft pick compensation if the player signs with another club. But beware of doing that, because if you tender the qualifying offer to a bad player like Kyle Gibson here, he'll probably accept that 1-year $19.9 million offer, and then you're stuck overpaying a guy who's not that good. So I'm not tendering that offer. There you go. Olson did accept the offer as manager, and we move forward into what will be free agency. This is the last day to tender qualifying offers. I'm not going to do that. So we go to where free agency is. People that have become free agents, like, of course, Shohei Ohtani, who's looking to get paid, of course. Now, with a team with a lower budget like these Baltimore Orioles, we are not really looking to bring in guys like Ohtani. But this is the thing with the Orioles, okay? If you look at their budget screen, a lot of these guys aren't making big money. Like, we could trade Aaron Hicks and James McCann and go after Shohei, because look at the money people are making. Not a lot. These guys on contract renew, that's RNW here, and anybody who would be on ARB, arbitration, are things we're going to have to pay attention to here. And that is, I think, the main area where you guys need to learn. Okay, look at that. Everybody is on renew or arbitration. The only people who are scheduled to hit free agency in the next 2 years are Hicks and McCann, and they're not even great players. So, while you're rolling through your offseason, the number one thing that you want to do, and the first thing that you should do every time, not make offers, big offers to big players. That's not the first thing you should do. The first thing you should do is go in here to tender contracts, okay? This right here are the guys that are on RNW, renew. Adley Rutschman has 1 year of this before he hits arbitration, which means that you can offer him something and he can decline it. He cannot sign for it, but you can still get him for 80% of what he made last season. That is what this means up here. Adley Rutschman doesn't have enough service time to get arbitration yet. But if you have not reached an agreement on a contract by February 15th, you can renew his contract at any price greater than 80% of his salary from last season. So he would take a 20% pay cut if he didn't sign here. Now, he would like a 5-year deal. A lot of you that I see doing your offseason tend to offer this 5-year deal saying, yeah, $8 million for Adley Rutschman is fair. And it is. He's a 93 overall. However, if you want to be a smart, small budget team, what you would do is notice here that he is taking a 5-year deal, which buys his renew, buys his 3 arbitration years, and buys 1 year of free agency. So pay attention to that little salary guide in the bottom right, okay? This year, if you renew him, he would probably only make $740,000 for a 93 overall. That's crazy. For the next 3 years, his arbitration years, he would be making an average of $4.1 million per season. He'd probably get somewhere like in the 2 range, and then somewhere in the 4 range, and then somewhere in the 6 range to end his arbitration. Then when he's a free agent, he's going to be a big time money player. So probably in that $20 to $25 million a year on a long-term contract. So you need to determine if it's worth it for you to buy those years. You could save $8 million now by giving him $740,000 on a renew, but you would be losing money every year of the arbitration where you could get him cheaper. You'd be losing money where you could get him cheaper and renewable, but you would save on the free agent year. The one free agent year. Is it worth it to pay $18 million less for that 5th year when you could pay $2 million plus $4 million plus $6 million plus $8 million less? Well, you got to do the math there. What I prefer to do is offer ridiculous contracts that you know these guys are not going to take, which is usually what I do. A 15-year deal. If Rushman takes a 15-year deal for $8 million a year, he can stay. Felix Bautista, we'll go out there, do the same thing with him. He's 28 years old already, though. So this is a guy who's hitting contract renew. He's going to hit arbitration late. He's going to be an oldie by the time he hits free agency. And that has to do with service time and when people get brought up and all kinds of things like that. So he wants a 5-year deal. That would buy his 3 arbs, his 1 renew, and a year of free agency, just like Rushman, but he would be 33 by the time that contract is up. Probably wouldn't want him after that anyway. So it may be worth it to sign your closer up at $4.1 million a year for the next 5 years. I'd say that's pretty good. You could try for more and pay him more money, but at a guy who's going to be 33, I'm going to take this deal right here, and I will offer it. He may not accept it still, but then I will just go and renew him. The way I like to go through these guys, really, though, is by position. Grayson Rodriguez, this is a guy, he only wants 2 years, and you can see why, because he wants you to buy his 2 renewable years out when you would get him for super cheap. Now, you could buy 1 renew for $580,000 because you're probably, I don't know what he made last year, but if it was the $700 that he wants, you're probably going to get him for around $580. So I think buying the 1 year at $580 isn't a bad idea. But I'm going to go ahead and $580 for $15. If he wants to take that, that's cool. Dean Kramer, you want to keep him around. See, now, Dean Kramer's the kind of guy that would take a 15-year deal at $2.5 million a year. I don't want him for that, but I will go ahead and give him the offer of $1 million a year at 15 years. If he wants to take that, that's cool with me. DL Hall, here's another guy. 15 years at $700K. I mean, if that's what he wants to do, we'll have a guy like that forever and ever, and it's not very expensive. Kyle Bradish, same thing. We're going to try and keep him around. These guys would all be C potentials that are older like this, 28, 27 years old, would be very nice trade bait at some point if I was actually running a franchise with this team. See, Tommy Wilson is a guy, like, if you don't want a guy, just don't offer him anything and he'll go to free agency. Like, I don't really wouldn't want Tommy Wilson if I was running this, but Jackson Jobe, who actually got traded to this team in the regular season. We'll go ahead and offer his thing. A lot of guys you won't be able to change. Like these guys, you can't really do anything except offer them more money, which why would you do that? If you can get them for $50K, you do that, but you can't change the years, and that's because they have never, ever once played in a major league game. They're just down there, so you don't have to worry about them. These D potential guys, I'm not going to worry about signing them. Maybe him. He's 23 years old, so we'll go with that. And I guess we'll try to get Seth Johnson back on the squad here. See, he can only do the 1-year deal thing. We're just going to offer $520. He may not want that. That's fine. I'm not going to go for Tommy Wilson. Let's go for these relievers. Holy hell. Brian Baker wants $2 million a year, and he would take it for the next 15 seasons. I don't think we're going to do that, but if he'll take $1 million for the next 15 seasons, I'm okay with it. Cano, one of the big stories of this season thus far, IRL. We'll go ahead and offer him like $650K. Darwinzon Hernandez is another guy making the Orioles a contender this year. I'd love to see the Orioles do well. We'll go to $520K. Povich, he's just the 1-year type. I'm not even going to offer Bauman or any of these other dudes. Now, bear in mind, if you don't offer any of these guys, you don't bring them back, you need to fill your minor leagues. So all the guys that are young, I'll go ahead and offer real quick, but this is really just a tutorial for you guys. This isn't like a series or anything, so I'm not really taking it super serious, but you would want to go through and probably keep some of these dudes, even though they kind of stink. Bautista, we did the thing with. I don't really want this guy, so we'll let him go to free agency. That's totally fine. Valoria, I guess we'll go ahead and offer him. We'll go ahead and give him a under $500,000 a year contract. These guys are all very old. I don't want to bring any of them back. Lewin Diaz, and there's another guy who's going to get one of these crazy offers. There we go. Lester's old. You're old and old for D potential guys I don't want. Westberg. Now, Westberg will offer him his 15-year deal. Vavra will offer him that as well. He does not want to do this. There we go. Norby, you're 23. We can bring you back. Cullen, no. Hall, yes. We'll bring him back. There we go. We're going to lose a lot of people, but that's fine. I'm not really worried about it. Gunnar Henderson. We'll go ahead and give him his 15-year offer. Welk's 26, so, like, we can bring him back. I just don't want to offer him big money. Now, bear in mind, me doing this, there will be some guys that will accept these $500,000 a year for a bazillion-year type of deals, and you just deal with it as it comes. For me, it doesn't matter, because then you lock them up for, like, their entire career, so it can be an advantage. It can be kind of bad for the budget as well, if you are one of those really tiny market type of teams, but I think it's totally worth it to lock a dude up for the rest of his life for $740,000 a year that could be a potentially really good player for your franchise. I don't mind doing it. It's kind of like that Atlanta Braves strat, you know what I mean? So we try to do that, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't, but we're going to go through all of these. This is the most tedious part of the offseason, and I think it's why a lot of people fail at the offseason, or I don't want to say fail, but just don't do it in the smartest way possible. There we go. We have offered all the people we want to bring back on contract renew. Now, look at that in the bottom right. Your pending offers are now $30.8 million, and that's going to affect this budget right here. It says you have $151 million to go spend, but you don't, because you are offering 30.8. So your actual budget is going to be around 120-ish at that point. And then you've got to go to the arbitration, guys, which is another area a lot of people do not seem to know how to deal with. So we're going to roll in here to the arbitration list. And obviously, Seti Mullins is on there, but I'm going to go by position. It's how I like to do things. This is where you got to be smart, because arbitration guys like Tyler Wells here, He has 3 years of arbitration. So that means he's probably, he wants a 5-year deal. He'll be 34 at the end of the deal. So it could be worth it because honestly, he's probably going to make an average of $2.3 million a year in arbitration. You got to pay attention to that bottom right-hand corner. So if he's making an average of $2.3 million a year over the 3 years, that's a 6.9 over those 3 years. 1 year, he's probably going to make less than that. 1 year, he's going to make around that. And 1 year, he's going to make more than that. But the years of free agency, which would be years 4 and 5, he's going to make around $7 million. So getting him at 4.1 a year, not bad at all for a rotation piece. So I will go ahead and offer him that deal. John Means, there's another guy. He's got 2 years of arbitration. He wants a 5-year deal, and he wants it at under $5 million. So I'll actually go ahead and do that and offer him. Now, just because you offer him here, you didn't offer him arbitration. So if he doesn't accept this by the time the deadline is for arbitration, he'll go to free agency. And your offer will stand, but he'll look for offers elsewhere. Cole Irvin is a guy that I wouldn't want to keep around if I was running a franchise. So he's a guy that I would just offer him the arbitration, and I wouldn't increase it a lot because he's not a great player. So we'll offer him $800,000, and you'll see what happens. The arbiter will pick how much they think he's worth. Here's a guy, Austin Voth. I don't think he's worth over $2 million, so I'm not going to offer him that. And then arbitration, the way it's supposed to work in real life, is performance-based. This is MLB the Show. I'm not sure they do it that way. Dylan Tate, good reliever. He wants a 5-year deal as well. And a 5-year deal at 3.2 a year is pretty darn good for a bullpen piece. So I'm going to offer him that. And then we're going to go ahead and look at Ciano Perez. I'm probably not going to bring back. Probably not going to bring back any of these relieving guys. Ryan Mountcastle, great player, obviously. He's got 3 years of arbitration. He'd like us to buy him for 5 at 3.7 a year. I'm down. We will offer him that deal and see if he accepts that. I think that's fair enough. Jorge Mateo's got 2 years of arbitration left. He'd like us to buy him out for 5 at 3.7. That's probably going to be pretty, 3.6 maybe? We'll try that. That could be pretty fair. Ramon Urias, another decent player who would like us to buy him for 5 years at $3 million apiece. You know what? We'll go ahead and offer that. Now, you want to check back around the deadline and see if these guys accept it or not. Austin Hayes got 2 years of arbitration. He just came off of a pretty darn good year, hitting .294. That's better than expected. Let's see what he wants to take. A lot of teams tried to trade for him in the regular season. I really didn't try to do that. 5 years at 5.3. That's a lot of money. I'm going to go ahead and offer the arbitration at $3.5 million for the year and see what happens. Seti Mullins. Obviously, you'd like to get a long-term deal done with Seti Mullins, but look at the money. Look at the money. 2 years of arbitration left. You're going to end up paying less for the arbitration. We'll offer him $4.5 million. That'll be less than the $13 million he wants right now. Anthony Santander, he only wants 6.5. That's incredible. $6 million. We'll offer that to Santander and see if he accepts. So that's probably the way we can get it the cheapest. So we're going to try to do that. Now, we didn't offer arbitration to these guys. You can see that. We were offering actual contracts to some of these guys. So you got to come back and look again. And it's usually, I think it's this. Yes, this one right here, November 23rd. This star, you can check and view date significance. This is where you want to come check back. So once you get to this date, you want to see if they accepted those offers or not. And if they didn't, you got to go back and offer arbitration. We'll do that. We'll do that later. Now, first thing, I'm going to do this just to show you guys. We're going to try to get rid of McCann, and we're going to get rid of Hicks, and we're going to go get prospects back. There you go. We'll get Sean Sanchez from the Rockies for those two guys. That saves like $19 million. We'll do that, and then we can go out and offer Shohei just to bring him to Baltimore. Why not, right? Why not bring Shohei Ohtani into Baltimore? We'll offer him that. Oh, he doesn't like that as much as he likes his Angels offer. It appears he wants a long-term deal. You know what? We'll go ahead and stack Shohei up with a player option and 15 years and just sign him for the rest of his career as a Baltimore Oriole. Why not? This is just a tutorial. We can get unrealistic here. Why not? There we go. We'll offer Shohei $28 million a year. He likes that better than he likes his Angels offer. Let's go, baby. So we'll do that. We'll bring him in. And then I think we lost Hicks. So bringing in maybe like an A.J. Pollock or something. I don't know. Maybe we'll do that. We'll bring in an A.J. Pollock for a season at 5.3 or some crap. That'll work. We'll do that. Could have brought in a Renfroe even, maybe a McCutchen, but, you know, I'm not going to make too many free agent offers. This being a tutorial, I want to show you guys what to do. So, Shohei did sign. Did you see that? There you go. Shohei Ohtani to the Baltimore Orioles. We still got $131 million in the budget, according to the game. All right, we're going to roll right to the arbitration list here, if we can. Oh, the 40-man. Oh, all right. This is a thing that I need to show you guys as well. So we're going to stop simulating. We're going to go look at this. So this is another thing you guys need to do in the offseason. Some people ask why they lose prospects, why they lose players during the offseason. And this would be the answer why right here. 40-man roster. So you're going to lose guys in the Rule 5 draft that you don't put on your 40-man that show up on this list. You could lose them in the Rule 5 draft. So we have 38 people on our 40-man roster right now. Heston Kierstad and Darwinzon Hernandez are probably the only ones that I think might get picked up in the Rule 5. I think Cade Povich is a little bit too low overall for somebody to go pick him up. So what we're going to do is we are going to put Darwinzon Hernandez on our 40-man roster. We are going to put Heston Kierstad on our 40-man roster. And we're going to check out our 40-man roster and see who stinks that is on our 40-man roster. Like this guy right here. I don't think I would ever use him. He's going to end up going to waivers, but that's fine. If somebody really wants that dude, they can have him because he is not good. Ryan O'Hearn, probably not a dude. Well, I won't remove him yet. But you can remove guys off your 40-man roster. They will just go to waivers. So you will see, here he is. Bauman is on waivers. Now, the important thing there, and then new guys will populate this list. So you'll see Valoria's on there. John Rhodes is on there now. I don't think any of these players are important, but you want to pay attention to this because rookies will eventually show up to this. You don't want to put your rookies or guys that you don't ever plan on using at the major league level for that season. You don't want to put them on the 40-man. Because putting a guy on the 40-man can start his clock and can ruin your arbitration and renewable contract years and things like that. So if you're doing service time manipulation and stuff like that, and you want to be a good small budget team, you want to pay attention to things like that. So now we'll go through there because that doesn't matter. Now we made it to the arbitration deadline here. So we're going to stop simulating. So if you do not offer these guys arbitration, they can go if they did not sign a contract. So this guy didn't sign the contract. So we're going to go ahead and put the arbitration offer on the table at, I'll put $900K. He's probably going to get something else. He's probably going to get more than that. Dylan Tate, that's another dude. We are going to put him up for 1.8, I think would be worth it for a reliever of that caliber. I'm actually going to go ahead and offer Ciano Perez 850. I'm going to go ahead and offer Colombe 800. And I'm going to go ahead and offer Aiken 750. I layered them. It's just arbitrary. Ryan O'Hearn can kick rocks. I'm not really worried about that. Hayes. We offered him arb already. We offered Mullins arbitration. We need to offer... Whoa, I didn't want to withdraw, but we got to offer Santander some money now. We'll go 7.5. I'm not going to up his money that much because I don't really think he's super worth it. We offered both of those guys. So there we go. That's it. Did anybody accept our... I think John Means accepted our offer. There you go. So John Means, Jorge Mateo, Ramon Urias, and Ryan Mountcastle did take the long-term contracts. So their arbitrations are bought out. But these other guys didn't accept them. So we had to go ahead and put the arbitration offers on the table at that time. Bichette Yankee. Oof. Now, this is the date, December 2nd, where you have to have your contracts tendered or they become free agents. That's all those long-term deals. I offered all those little prospects at the beginning. I'm not going to stop simulating because I did everything that I wanted to do. But if you didn't, this would be your last chance. Then they added this cool draft lottery thing, which we're going to take a look at. We're projected 11th. So we'll see. We have the 1.4% odds for the number one pick. And as we simulate the draft lottery, I wish they did something cool like the NBA draft lottery in 2K, but I guess this works. We stick at 11. The only movement is in the top 4, where the Royals and Nats move out. Tigers and Rockies coming up 3 spots for the number one pick. Right, this is where we get to the Rule 5 draft that I was talking about. So if you go into the Rule 5 draft as Camilo Duvall gets traded within division, oof, this is where teams will go ahead and select players that teams didn't protect by putting them on the 40-man. Povich did go. Povich was selected by the Red Sox, so if I didn't want Povich to go, I should have put him on the 40-man, and I didn't. I didn't think that somebody was going to take a 64 overall, but they did. Because relief pitching is so bad at the start of every franchise that I guess they were desperate enough to take him. So now we get a chance to pick a player, and honestly, like, you know, if I'm running a small budget team, maybe I take a guy like Alex Reyes, you know, maybe you take a guy... Maybe you need a backup catcher. You take a guy like Max Stassi. You know, maybe you take a backup player like Scott Kingery or somebody that can be that platooning and utility player for you, since Kingery can play pretty much anywhere. You know, maybe that's something you do. I'm not going to select anybody, but you could take somebody there. See, the White Sox skipped. I'm going to go ahead and skip, which takes me out of the Rule 5 draft. You can't select any more players. Tony Santillan goes. Kyle Tyler goes. See, some people get selected. And then when teams skip, they're out of the draft. So there you go. Now, they're going to have to keep Cade Povich on their 26-man roster for the entire year. He automatically gets put on their 40-man. He automatically needs to be at the major league level when you take a guy in this draft. So we didn't. I wasn't going to put anybody on that level. And I'm going to roll right through the month of January without making any free agent signings, just to show you guys as we get to arbitration hearings. Lou India, yeah, I don't care. Arbitration hearings. Here we go. So renewable contracts coming up in 3 days. Here's your arbitration. So Danny Colombe sided with the Orioles. So he's only making $800K. That's fine. Sided with the Orioles on Austin Voth. So he'll make $1.95 million. Sided with Austin Hayes. So he's actually going to make $4 million. As Matt Chapman signs with the Dodgers. Nice. Ciano Perez wins his arbitration for $1.2 million. Cole Irvin wins his arbitration for $1.2 million. And Santander wins his for $8.1 million he's going to make this year. And then Seti Mullins wins his for $5.3 million. And Keegan Aiken wins his for $1.1 million. So he's going to make over $1 million. I didn't really want to give him that, but it is what it is. Now, as soon as arbitration is done, I advise all of you to go check out Renew Contracts, because this is where everybody who didn't take these long-term deals, like Adley Rushman, and we'll get through it. Grayson Rodriguez didn't take that long-term deal, but now you can renew him. There you go, for 80% of what he made, $580,000. Same thing, Dean Kramer, you can take his money all the way down. He's only going to make $580,000. DL Hall, $580,000. Kyle Bradish, $590,000. Here's $60,000. Look at that. Seth Johnson, he's going to make $580,000. Move to relief. Here's Baker. He's going to make $580,000. Here's Yenier Cano. He's going to make $580,000. And Darwinson, going to make $560,000. Closing pitcher, Felix Bautista. Look at this. $580,000 for Bautista. Here's Rushman. Guess what he's making? $580,000 for a 93 overall. Lewin Diaz didn't like our offer, and usually there is always somebody who does this crap, but you could just go in and give him $660,000. He'll probably take it by the end of the year. Westberg, renew him at $590,000. Vavra, renew him at $580,000. Gunnar Henderson, renew him at $580,000. Look at that. Look at these cheap prices for these guys. $50,000. I mean, that's like no money. Jackson Holiday at $70,000. Joey Ortiz at $580,000. Colton Cowser coming through for $590,000. McKenna coming through for $580,000. Kyle Stowers is coming through for $580,000. And that's it. There you go. We signed them all. They didn't want to take our long-term deals, but they're going to be on roster anyway. And there's our budget. We're at $77 million in available budget. And we've got a lot of dudes that are only going to be here for one season. Frazier did take our one-year deal. AJ Pollock did take our one-year deal as well. So team's looking mighty solid. Of course, we're missing a lot of the prospects that I didn't sign. You'll see that here in this depth chart, where we only have 61 players on roster because I got rid of a lot of these renew contract guys, but I can always go in here at the start of spring training. Last day to renew contracts is at the end of the offseason. I'm not going to stop simulating. You get into spring training, and you can always fill your roster up. We have 61 players on roster. I can always fill them up with all these little free agents, and they'll have little 19-year-olds in here usually. A lot of them are going to be D potentials and stuff. They're not going to be very good players, but you can always fill up your roster with little prospects and things like that. So hopefully that helped you guys. And if you have any other questions, please go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. I just really felt like I could help some of you all out with your franchise modes, and I hope that you did get some value out of it. Thank you, channel members, for going above and beyond in the support of this channel. And in case nobody's told you, FG fam, I love you guys.